Welcome to a Yanks Abroad stream on Bleacher Report. We are here for a very, very exciting little bit of content for you guys. I'm Will Balsam. That's Casey Settleman. We are the home for the upcoming run to the World Cup in 2026 following the U.S. men's national team under Mauricio Pochettino. It's a very exciting time to be a U.S. soccer fan. And today we are going to discuss our favorite young players who will thrive under Mauricio Pochettino, under his leadership, his tactical brilliant mind. Casey, why don't you start us off? I'm excited to hear who you've got first.
Yeah, I want to start with Malik Tillman, but before we even get into that, I think it's hilarious that it comes out that Tim Ream spoke about the fact that the U.S. men's national team had their first 2-hour training session in the history of his career at the U.S. men's national team. I mean, the feedback from that has not been pretty on Twitter, with people reacting to the fact that essentially we were just going out there for a kickabout, and then that was about it under Berhalter and others. But yeah, I wanted to start.
Are you surprised though at all? Like, are you surprised?
Of course not. I'm not, but it's something we've talked about extensively, that these players are going to be asked to do a lot more under Pochettino. And one player that fits that, who I think can live up to those expectations, is Malik Tillman. The 22-year-old, I think, is the future of this U.S. men's national team. The present is obviously Pulisic, but the future is Malik Tillman. He started in the Bayern system, so he's obviously been playing high level for a very long time now. And then since his move to PSV has been killing it. This season alone, he already has 4 goals and an assist in 8 matches. And something we talked about extensively on our YouTube channel was Malik Tillman's performance in the Champions League on the biggest stage recently, analyzing his performance and just everything that he's going to be able to provide to the U.S. men's national team, and especially under Poch's leadership. We also touched a lot on, during our Copa coverage, that he barely got any minutes at Copa, and we were really disappointed by that because we know how good he can be. And he's brought that form into the next club season. And specifically why we're so excited with him under Poch is the success that these kind of number 10 pseudo second strikers have had in this Pochettino system. First with Dele Alli, and second with Cole Palmer. It's a style of player that loves to get on the ball, loves to play directly off the striker, and can give you goals and assists in bunches. And when you say Dele Alli under Pochettino and Cole Palmer under Pochettino at Chelsea, like, these are 2 performances or seasons that were extraordinary. Like, it's not just like they were good, they excelled above so many expectations, and Pochettino is so good at bringing that out of these particular players. And I think Malik Tillman fits that exact profile that he's going to be able to do, similar to how Palmer and Dele did.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is a player unlike almost, I feel like, any attacking midfielder that we've ever really seen in the U.S. men's national team. He's not a static player. This is a guy who's going to find spaces in between the lines to receive. He is going to press harder than anybody else on the team, win the ball back high up the pitch, little intricate 1-2s to find space and create goals. I mean, he does a little bit of everything so well, and he is comfortable receiving the ball as a deep-lying playmaker if he needs to as well, which I think is so important. And we detailed it really, really specifically on our most recent podcast, where he can also play out on the wing. He can do a little bit of everything. And I think, like Cole Palmer, there's this discussion about him a lot in the last year. Like, is he a winger? Is he an attacker? And like, he really thrives in this free role. And Dele Alli, for, his prime, whatever years we want to call that, unfortunately, it was very short. It was very similar, right? It's like a true second striker. And I think that's what makes Malik Tillman so good. He wants to make himself have an impact on every match. He is not going to stick to his position and just, hope the ball comes to him and make something happen. Then he's going to go out and grab the game and make it his. And this team needs someone so desperately who isn't Pulisic to go out and do that. And he's exactly the player, because the athletic profile is, I mean, it's top notch. It's what you expect from a U.S. men's national team player. I feel like for a while it was all built on athletic profiles, right? And now we've got a little bit more technique, and we've lost a little bit of that athleticism. But Malik Tillman is just so strong and so good on the ball. And under Poch, he should just fit perfectly. I mean, he should be the prime player, long strides, can score from pretty much anywhere, use both feet, and I'm excited to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dream. We wanted to see him play in the Berhalter system because we thought he would thrive, but this is literally carbon copy made for a player like Tillman.
There's no doubt about it. And I kind of think it actually really goes well into one of the first players that I would like to talk about, who is Kevin Paredes. So I think we've all been really waiting to see break into this U.S. men's national team. He was obviously so excellent during the Olympics, especially in that match against Guinea. He had the 2 goals. He created quite a bit. I think he ended up with 3 goals and an assist in the tournament. He had a little bit of a weird thing that happened where they made up fake stories about him talking about the Morocco team, which was a very unfortunate situation. I was actually just rereading that article before this on The Athletic, where he was basically just like, it was one of the worst couple of days of my life. I didn't even know what they were talking about because I didn't say it. But
yeah, I missed that.
Anyway, we'll move on from that. But Kevin Paredes is kind of the opposite of a Malik Tillman. This is a true touchline winger. This is a player who wants to be as wide on the pitch as he can when he receives it and use his burst, his strides, his incredible technique to get past players. He mostly likes to play off that left wing, but I think can really thrive on that right wing because of that really dangerous left foot. He loves to play a ball to the back post. Think about Saka and Lamine Yamal, the way they like to play that kind of curved in swinger to the back post. He's already scored 4 times for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga and adding 3 assists. He's really, to me, is like Mykhailo Mudryk in a lot of ways. And I know that may not excite a lot of people, right? Like it's kind of, you have to take everything with a grain of salt when we're talking about the U.S. men's national team. And I really just mean this as a profile. This is a player who is good in transitions. He needs the space to operate in, and that's why he plays wide. And so I think you're going to see a lot of Tillman as a second striker. You're going to see a lot of Balogun. You're going to see a lot of Christian Pulisic. Pulisic also likes to come inside. So you do need somebody to keep the width and to have a Paredes who can do it off the left, who can do it off the right. Very, very athletic, very fast, unlike pretty much any other player we have. I do think in 2026, he will be a part of this World Cup team and someone who's going to maybe not start, but can really make something happen. And just lastly about him is he really broke into Wolfsburg's side last year as a sub, coming on in a back 5 and playing as a wing back, which I think is a really helpful thing for him to be able to do, especially if the U.S. is chasing a game. We know Poch likes to use his left and right back really high up the pitch and really wide. And so if you're chasing a game, it's not a horrible thing to have a natural left footer who can come on as kind of a pseudo left back in ways. And I think Kevin Paredes could really thrive in that role.
Do you think there's a world? What needs to happen for him to occupy that starting position come 2026?
I mean, I think he needs to, number one, get himself healthy. Unfortunately, came back from the Olympics after having a great time and got hurt, I believe, in training or in a preseason match, and has not featured yet for Wolfsburg, hoping to be back between this international break and the next international break. And he needs to show that what he adds are goals and assists. And I think, like, both of us are big fans of Tim Weah, I think. And that's because he offers so much in ball retention. He offers so much on the counterattack. But I don't know that we've gotten the goals and assists out of him that we want. And so if Kevin Paredes can offer a few more goal contributions than any of our other wingers, I think that's really what helps him break into this team. And I think under Pochettino, we should be able to, because there should be more isolation. When you have Tillman as a second striker behind Balogun, whose movement's incredible, you have Pulisic, who's obviously the main man, you should get your right winger into some more 1v1s. And I think Paredes is well more dominant in 1v1s, or at least has the profile to be, than Tim Weah does. And so I think he really will give Weah a run for his money at that position.
Yeah, only thing Weah, in my opinion, has over him, along with the experience, is the fact that he almost single-handedly got Berhalter fired. So that's something he'll have over.
He's a cult hero.
Paredes. Yeah. Moving on to the midfielder. Well, Tillman, pseudo midfielder, pseudo attacker. The true midfielder to be looking out for is Tanner Tessman. 23 years old, had a great season at Venezia last year, and then going into this summer was rumored to get a big move inside of Serie A, potentially Inter Milan. For a second there, it felt like it was a done deal. That, unfortunately, or fortunately, we'll see how it happens, did not go through. But then he played very, very important minutes at the Olympics for the under-23s. We both thought he was brilliant, potentially the most important player for us at those Olympics. And then he gets a move to Lyon in Ligue 1. It happened late in the summer, and then coming off a lot of minutes in the Olympics, he's gotten slowly integrated into that Lyon side. Now is a big opportunity in this current camp because he was not originally selected. You have Cardoso, who picked up an injury, and you have Adams, who has been injured. But Tessman, he's probably got to jump on this opportunity because Cardoso is going to come back. Adams I guess that's up in the air if he's coming back.
Sure.
But this is his chance to solidify himself as a real contender at that number 6 position. And for us who are very, very high on him, it's a very exciting camp now that he is included, because I think that was the one exclusion that we were both extremely upset about, not being able to see him under Pochettino. So now that he gets in through a little bit of fortune of injury, whatever, I mean, we're not rooting for injuries, obviously, but he gets in, and now he has the opportunity to show Pochettino that he deserves to be in. And I think there's a very good chance he could take this number 6 position. He's 23 years old. If he starts getting those more consistent minutes at Lyon and starts playing 80 minutes, 90 minutes, I think there's a world where he could start at the 2026 World Cup.
For sure. I mean, and I think the one thing you didn't touch on is his versatility really plays very well into, his hands. It's not just obviously the versatility of positions. Great. He can play as a lone 6. He can play as an 8. He's played quite a bit as a center back as well, but it's also his physical versatility. The fact that he's 6'2" or 6'3", but also so technically gifted, knows how to use his body, knows how to anticipate passing lanes, jump in. His passing range is pretty unlimited for a player who we haven't seen that much at the highest level. To have such an ability to pass the ball with both feet is very rare. And I don't think we necessarily have another player in the squad who does it that well.
It's something he put on display big time at the Olympics. The way he was spraying balls with both feet was something that kind of took us back a little, who were already pretty high on the player. And then seeing that, we obviously got extremely excited because, I mean, we call a spade a spade. We watch the Premier League. You see a lot of high skilled players. You don't really see a lot of that in the U.S. men's national team camp. The bar is low. So when you do something like that, it's very impressive.
For sure. And I think we know under Poch, like, they're going to try and play out from the back. We've heard him talk about it. We've heard players just in the few training sessions they've had talk about it. That is the plan. And I also want to, stress that Poch said, you know what, in matches that we can't, we're not going to lose the ball deep. We're going to go win the ball high up the pitch. We're going to press high up the pitch. That'll be the way that we get possession further up the pitch. But, to have a press breaker like him, I don't think Tyler Adams is that player. Tyler Adams is more of the, he's going to stick a foot in. He's going to make a challenge. He's going to, really gamble sometimes. And Tessman is more of the mold of anticipating passing lanes and, whatever that might be. So I'm a big fan of his ability to be the 6 in 2026. Like, I think it's hard for people to give up on a Tyler Adams, somebody we've been watching for so long and expecting this World Cup to be his. But under Pochettino, it's kind of a fresh slate. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these guys we're talking about really get their chances, especially since, and we talked about it a lot with Reyna last week. It's like, if Reyna misses these 2 camps under Poch, if Tyler Adams misses these 2 camps under Poch, doesn't get a chance to play for him until March. At March, we're 14 months from a World Cup. Like, if you've never played for the manager, your spot is, now you have to go out and win it back. And so hopefully Tessman can, stake his claim to that spot before that happens.
I think that's a really key point and a good time to break talking about these players. I mean, Pochettino just came out and essentially said, I mean, he noted the fact that if you're playing in the MLS consistently versus abroad not playing every week, it's going to be tough to, I mean, he noted Messi in that quote, but that's a little bit of a different level, Messi playing in the MLS versus the U.S. men's national team players playing in the MLS. But I think that's an important quote of if you're not getting time in your club, it's not just an auto selection like we've seen in the past with Berhalter, where it was just on merit and these guys name brand, they just get selected whether they're performing well or playing a lot at their club. There's opportunity for, as you said, clean slate. If you're playing well now at your club, I think now more than ever, it's your best chance to really stake your claim for a spot at that 2026 World Cup.
100%. And I think, part of that comment to me is the U.S. Soccer Federation is in his ear a little bit. We know obviously what they kind of did for a while, making Berhalter and previous managers call up MLS players when obviously they shouldn't have. But on the flip side of that, and the more positive side is something we talk about all the time. It's don't just try and make the big move to Barcelona or to Chelsea. Go play for Westerlo. Go play for Lyon. Go play for Venezia and work your way. Look at Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie was playing in Belgium. He's played, I think he played in Denmark. And now he's at Toulouse in Ligue 1. And he's kind of getting integrated into being a key part of this team. And so, again, it's finding the right fit for you is so much more important than the name of the club. That's where we are as a country now. And so I think Pochettino, that's really what he's saying is it's not just the MLS. It's don't worry about making that huge move. That'll come if you show what you're doing. Moving on to our fourth player to watch under Pochettino, young player, and that's Aiden Morris, who made a move to Middlesbrough this summer. He's now got 11 appearances for them. He's a regular starter playing under Michael Carrick. And this is a midfielder who it's great for him to be learning under Michael Carrick, someone with the experience who's played with the greats at Manchester United and is one of the best young managers. And I think Aiden Morris actually really fits the mold of the way Pochettino wants to play. He works viciously off the ball to win it back. He is relentless. He's really, really, really solid at receiving the ball and taking his time and holding a man off, breaking the press. He is not going to do anything super flashy. That's not Aiden Morris. Like, I don't think he's going to stand out the way Yunus Musa does with his ball carrying, or he's not going to create the goals and assists who, Weston McKennie is going to do. But Aiden Morris, it can do a job for this team very well. And I think you put him and Tanner Tessman in a midfield with someone like Malik Tillman ahead of him. That's a very well-balanced midfield. And I think forever we've wanted to get the best players in the U.S. out on the pitch together because they're either the flashes or they play at Juventus or whatever. But Aiden Morris, to me, getting this opportunity kind of consistently now over the past few months shows that we're kind of making strides and trying to find the right profiles. And I think you see it with the biggest countries, right? Like the fact that Cole Palmer was not playing for England this summer and everyone's freaking out, but his profile didn't fit to the squad. And so he didn't start. And I'm not saying Gareth Southgate's a great manager, but we can't just put our best 11 out there. And I think Aiden Morris is a player who will fly under the radar, but 100% makes the 2026 World Cup squad and will get some very key minutes when we're either trying to retain the ball with a lead or somebody who can just help us see out a match because he's smart. He's a hard worker. And he's someone who I think will probably find his way to the Premier League pretty soon if he continues to play this well.
Yeah. Poch has made it very clear. If you're not going to run to retrieve the ball, you're not going to play. And he's someone that won't have that problem. It's innate in him. So he's already ahead of some of the competition who it doesn't come naturally to track the ball, press when we lose it. I think it's also important to note, as excited as we are for these young U.S. men's national team players, with the fact that we automatically qualify hosting the World Cup, it will be interesting of how much integration these young players get due to the fact that unless you consider, the Nations League coming up for us.
In November. Yeah.
There's really no important matches, high leverage matches that any of these players will essentially have ever played in. You consider the U23 Olympics, sure, but a lot of none of them played at the Copa, and then none of them have played in qualifiers. It's like, are you just going to throw them to the wolves in a World Cup where we're hosting the biggest manager we've ever had with essentially what people are saying, the most talent we've ever had? It seems like it's a tough situation and something that I trust Poch to balance without a doubt. I mean, you saw Lamine Yamal. He at 16 years old took the Euros by storm. Not saying Aiden Morris is Lamine Yamal, but it's a balance of knowing which players are ready for the moment and which players are not. So as excited as we are, I'm curious to see if they're ready for this moment, because it is a big moment. There's no denying that. There's no hiding that. And I think that perfectly segues to the next player who I want to talk about is Caleb Wiley. He, at 19 years old, was playing at Atlanta United last season. I had the chance to watch him in person. He actually scored a brilliant goal. Great to watch him do that. And then he got the move to Chelsea. He immediately got loaned out to Strasbourg. And as Will was just touching on, it's not about getting that big move to Chelsea now. So I assume it was the club. I mean, Chelsea have 1 million players in their squad. He immediately gets the loan move to Strasbourg at 19 years old, which is a good thing. He was getting consistent minutes. He kind of fell out of favor. He's no longer in the starting lineup after, I wouldn't say bad performances, but not great performances at that left back position. But again, he's young. As long as he just continues to develop, I think he's in the perfect situation to where he's exciting to watch up in this upcoming camp, because I think he's a perfect fit for this Poch system. But he's not going to start. Like some of these players that we're touching on, Tillman, Tessman, Morris, they could get serious minutes or start in the 2026 World Cup. Wiley at 19 years old, and then you have Anthony Robinson at 27 years old. This is Jedi's World Cup, without a doubt. But can he learn from Jedi at this camp? And can he be at 24, 25 years old, ready to really take over that role coming into his prime and be ready for that next cycle? So I think that's why he's extremely exciting to watch, because we're turning into a serious nation where we have these young prospects coming into the camps who aren't going to start, aren't going to play serious minutes, but are going to learn a lot by just being there. And if Poch is here for 6 years and Caleb Wiley gets coached from 19 to 25 by Mauricio Pochettino, that seems like a recipe for success. And then potentially, I mean, Chelsea left back seems to be one of their biggest issues. So can he continue to improve? Can he continue to grow as a player, get integrated into the Chelsea side? And then you're working with Pochettino in the international break. It's a very exciting prospect for a player like Caleb Wiley, which is why I think it's a player to keep your eye on. Don't expect to see him a ton out there when it really matters, but keep an eye on him in these friendlies when he gets out there.
For sure. And I think, I mean, we've spoken about this more recently, but it's like, obviously, we all want to get super excited for 2026, and we are very excited for 2026. But in an ideal world, this is a 6-year project where in 2030, Pochettino has made his mark on the United States Soccer Federation. That's step one. He has kind of integrated a new culture into this entire system. And then step two is some of these players we're talking about have advanced their careers and really shined because they are learning under Mauricio Pochettino and are growing and rising up the ranks at their clubs, and then also with the U.S. men's national team. So, outside of Malik Tillman and maybe Kevin Paredes and Tanner Tessman, we shall see. Some of these guys, like, we're more talking about the future of the U.S. men's national team and what it means to have Mauricio Pochettino be their manager now, because I think that is really the big difference for a lot of these guys, especially someone like Caleb Wyler, who, yeah, he went to Chelsea, but he didn't really ever spend any time under Maresca. He's gone from Atlanta United to Strasbourg, and now he's working potentially with Pochettino for the next 6 years. So that's really what's most exciting.
Yeah.
The final player we have here for players that we're excited to watch under Pochettino is probably a lesser known guy, Joshua Wynder, who is at Benfica. He moved from Louisville City in June of 2023 for a little over €1 million. And this is a very young center back, 19-year-old center back, who his athleticism just stands out like amongst anybody. And that's one of the main reasons he was able to make this move. But it's also because this is a right-footed center back who's very comfortable at left center back. He's got outstanding anticipation and break on the ball. Like, he gets into passing lanes very quickly. He closes down very quickly without getting over aggressive. And most importantly, he's just very calm from playing out the back. This is a very highly technically skilled center back. And you just watch him play and you probably don't even think he's a center back. He really looks like a midfielder out there in the way that his one-touch passes to break the press, whether they're over-the-top balls, whether they're hard on the ground. He's been very good for Benfica's youth sides, featuring for them about 11 times. He scored twice off of corner kicks, excellent aerial ability. And to me, that left center back role is one of the most open positions in this entire team. Like, every position's pretty open outside of Pulisic's starting position and Chris Richards. I think those two guys, Balogun too, most likely, those three are not losing their jobs at any point in the near future. Anthony Robinson, probably a fair shout as well. But left center back, like Tim Ream's, 37, 38?
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Playing for Charlotte. And outside of that, like, it's Mark McKenzie or it's Miles Robinson. It's either guys who have not impressed for the U.S. men's national team or guys who are just starting to break in. And so, yeah, Josh Wynder, is he going to play big minutes at the World Cup in 2 years? Most likely not. But during this international break alone, he withdrew from the U.S. under-20 squad because he was asked to train with the first team at Benfica. He was given the number 66 jersey, which was most recently worn by Ruben Diaz and Antonio Silva, the two best center backs kind of coming out of their academy in the last decade. So he's getting rated by one of the best academies in Europe. He's made a big move, obviously, from Louisville to Benfica, but that means something. I mean, that, again, like, I don't mean to keep saying the same thing, but instead of making that big move to somewhere where he might not play, he's going to Benfica, who have developed some of the best young talents in the game that we're all watching and enjoying right now. And hopefully Joshua Wynder is one of the next ones.
No, you hit the nail on the head. I didn't even know that he got the same jersey number, but I was literally about to say, like, is there a better place to go to develop than Benfica? And then you obviously list the names and the shirt that he's taking. You naturally get extremely excited. And something the U.S., another profile that we talk about that the U.S. really has never had a super. I mean, have we ever had a really good ball playing center back? I don't think so.
Like, Tim Ream is a really good ball player, but he doesn't have the athletic ability. He's not a ball carrier. Like, I think what's really interesting about Wynder is like he can carry really well, and he will if it's given it to him. But sometimes you see center backs at like a young age really rely on that too much, because if they're more athletic than the rest, they can kind of just use that as an ability to break the press. And I haven't really seen him do that in what I've seen from him. So I think he's an exciting player to watch, and we may not see a lot from him in the next 6 months, but hopefully, maybe come March or maybe come the summer, he gets a chance to really impress for Benfica and get a chance to play for Poch.
Yeah, certainly. And I can only imagine what the culture shock from Louisville, Kentucky to Portugal looks like. I mean, I'm sure he's having the time of his life over there. Yeah, I mean, breaking a press, we've talked about that. How do we beat the higher level teams? Is it sit in and hit on the break, or can we start to play through them? And that starts with having a ball playing center back, and something that we didn't touch on here, but the goalkeeper position, it really starts there. Can we find a goalkeeper who, one, can shot stop, and two, play the ball with his feet? So the bar is pretty low right now, but look, going forward, can we play out of a press? Starts with the center backs and the goalkeeper. So it's a very exciting prospect to have.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to pick a goalkeeper to talk about, but it's unfortunately not a position where there's a plethora of talent for the U.S. right now. I mean, obviously there's Gaga Slonina, who we all know about. He's having an okay season at Barnsley, but again, this is more of a shot-stopping goalkeeper. And I mean, is Zach Steffen going to be the starting goalkeeper? I mean, I don't know. There were after seeing this squad, a lot of people were excited Zach Steffen was reintroduced. I know you and I were kind of like not too sure. I haven't really watched him in the last 18 months all that much, because he hasn't been with the U.S. And obviously I don't watch a ton of the MLS and see what he's doing there. But he wasn't great for City when he had the chance.
I mean, my thing with Steffen is, it's like, is he ever going to get the start over Turner? I feel like no. So what's the point of bringing him when you could see another young goalkeeper?
No, I mean, yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see tomorrow. I guess that's tomorrow. Poch's first starting 11. Like, I think we've discussed a lot of the outfield players, and you and I have just kind of thought it's a given that it's Matt Turner. But maybe it's not. Maybe he prioritizes ball playing. I mean, he really played Robert Sanchez at the start for Chelsea, who's not the world's best shot stopper, is more of a ball playing center goalkeeper. And I don't know. I'm really, really interested to see where he goes at that position specifically, because I think we all feel like not too excited about any of the options.
Yeah. I mean, we ended on things that are not so exciting, but there's a lot of excitement to be had looking forward with Poch, with these young players. And we'll be back here after the match tomorrow, breaking down the performance in full. So make sure you check back in for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button over on our YouTube channel, Yanks Abroad, where we cover all things U.S. men's national team and specific performances from these guys when they're over with their club team. So there's never a shortage of U.S. men's national team coverage. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And yeah, hopefully we put in a good shift. For me, all I want to see, 100% effort. It feels like we've gotten a ton of performances on the spin with this U.S. men's national team, where it just feels like we weren't given enough as fans watching these players. No matter how it looks, I want to be pressing, and I want to see high energy from these players, and like they care. And as long as we get that, whatever the result may be, whatever the performances may be, I can live with it.
I mean, the good news is you kind of already know that that's what we're going to get at a bare minimum tomorrow, because these guys all came out of that training session being like, whoa. This was a totally new level. And so you set the tone early. Yeah, maybe, the week of the World Cup, let's not train overly hard. But right now, set the tone that you need to work your ass off if you want to get into the side for Mauricio Pochettino. And if that's the bare minimum, then we're going to see a lot better than what we were seeing this summer at the Copa, because that was obviously unacceptable for all of us fans and what the players did out on the pitch. And so they're going to be held accountable. And it is really exciting. Like, I didn't mean to end it on a sour note, because I couldn't be more excited.
No, that's real.
Everything from the starting 11 all the way through the end of the match. I don't care about the result. I'm just excited to see what Pochettino was able to do in such a short period of time. And then even in November and then March, it's just going to be really fun to watch these guys grow over the next 18 months. And we're going to be right alongside them at Yanks Abroad. So as Casey said, we're doing every week, breaking down performances, power rankings of the players in the U.S. men's national team and how they're playing for their clubs. So we will see you tomorrow night for our post-match stream and talking about hopefully a great win by Mauricio Pochettino's U.S. men's national team.
Without a doubt. That's all we got here, and we will see you tomorrow night after a 4-0 U.S. men's national team performance under Poch.
and the Tim Weah revenge game against Panama.
True. I
Oh,
forgot
except he's
about that
injured,
angle.
but nonetheless, our revenge game against him.
We do it for Tim.
Correct.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you.